Yo, what's going on? It's Terror Talk. I'm Will.
And I'm Hector!
This is Terror Talk with a 3 instead of an E. We talk all things terror, all things horror, and today we have a movie review for you. A movie review, a timely one because it is Hispanic Heritage Month. So what better to kick it off? What better to kick off Hispanic Heritage Month than a Hispanic horror movie by the name of
Satanic HIspanics.
That's a crazy name, man. Satanic HIspanics. Now, I remember telling you about this movie where I was looking through my AMC app because we have the AMC pass, and I was like, well, they got this thrills and chills called Satanic HIspanics. And I was like, you want to check this out? And you're like, what the hell is that?
Because I was like, what the hell?
It sounds crazy, right? It sounds like kind of problematic.
The name is like so problematic because I was like, of all the names you could name this movie, you were like, yeah, you know what, Satanic HIspanics. I'm like, you're like mad specific.
Yeah,
and it's like, I'm like, there's no way to say, oh, it's because of,
and especially because you don't know too much about the film. So
yeah, so that's my thing.
It wasn't a lot.
You saw the trailer, right?
I saw the trailer when I saw it because I was like, what is this movie about? Like, what's going on here?
So I have no idea who's in the movie. I didn't know who the director was, actors, nothing like that, and I just went in like that.
Yeah, you went in fresh. I was just like, you know what? Like, let me take a look because that name is weird. So I was like, what is this name about? But when you find out, it's basically an anthology film of 5 different directors, and they're all giving their take on different cultural myths and things that go on, like different horror myths around Latin America,
South America,
Mexico.
Central America,
Mexico. Like it is a very, very interesting take. Like I haven't seen something like this quite like this before.
Not like this because like it's an anthology and it's different stories.
It's different stories. Yeah,
it's like Creep Show,
right? But
Hispanic.
Right, exactly. Which is Tales from the Hood,
yeah,
but Hispanic.
Yeah.
like Creep Show, like Tales from the Hood is Creep Show, but black. And then So it was interesting to see that cultural aspect of it, and I was like, okay, well, there you can tell by when you go into this movie that they're putting a lot of heart, a lot of soul into it.
Yeah.
And it means quite a bit to them. So. The name aside, I think the name is kind of being tongue in cheek. I think the name is like a little bit like, hey, cheeky, like, hey.
Yeah, for me, what it got is like what the cool thing about the name is it grabbed my attention.
Right, it does. Yeah, it's like shock marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Not negative. I wasn't like, oh, what the fuck. It was kind of like, the fuck.
Yeah, it's outrage marketing.
Yeah,
it's basically like, what is this? I have to see what this is about. You're gonna click on it if you see that name.
Yeah, and then this movie had multiple directors.
Yeah, who were the directors on there?
So we have Alejandro Brugués.
Okay.
And we have Mike Mendez. Demian Rugna, Gigi Sal Guerrero, and Eduardo Sanchez.
Okay. Oh, our boy.
Yes, sir.
Blair Witch Project. See, I know one. Yeah, like I wasn't too familiar with those names except for Eduardo Sanchez because I'm like, oh, that's Blair Witch Project guy. He's the OG, original gangster of found footage films.
Yeah, he's the Godfather.
The Godfather, yeah.
There's a lot of movies that wouldn't be because of him.
Right, he is the Godfather of that.
Say what you want about the Blair Witch Project because when it first came out, that fucking striked fire. Yeah, strike fire in everyone's butts.
It did
strike terror in everybody.
Terror talk. It got people scared.
Remember, people really thought they were missing too.
They did. They did know because they did. The marketing was fantastic.
Yeah.
What's funny is that the grandfather of this movie, who's Spanish, made the whitest movie ever. like
for real,
white people lost in the woods. It's like great. It's blurred like, cultural lines. You know, like it's a great piece. Like we're only talking about that now, but when you look back on it, you know a lot of people may not know that Mr. Sanchez was the one that directed Blair Witch Project.
I feel like this movie's very shocking to the point that a lot of people see it. They don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I haven't seen a trailer for it or anything like that.
It wasn't much going on about that around there.
Can you imagine if they were just like, hey, the guy who did the Blair Witch Project is in this movie. They directed one of that. I think that would bring a lot of people to it.
It would. But they didn't market it that way. They marketed it more like, which is more commendable to them, is that they marketed it more as like a celebration of Spanish heritage in a way, like
I agree.
which is pretty cool.
And you know there was people there to watch it.
There was we were there. I was there. I was like the only one in there. It was me, you, my dad, and like 3 other people. Yeah. But you know,
had to have put their feet like right here next to me.
Because
like,
nobody knows that this movie actually existed. But we look for all things terror, all things horror. We're trying to review every single horror movie. Starting with all of them. Starting with our Scream 6 movie review. Check that out. But With these movies, it was 5 stories with a wraparound around them. So
Correct.
the first story, we're not going to give you too many spoilers on there because I do recommend it. I do want you to see this movie, but like the first movie, it's broken up into different chapters.
But
so
it's done in a Quentin Tarantino style.
Sort of, yeah. It feels like
right?
that.
There's chapters.
There's chapters, yeah. There's chapters, and they wrap around. And the first story is the Traveler,
yeah,
right. And that's I vote for Pedro.
Yeah,
and then I think that was done by Mike Mendez.
Yes,
that was the
Traveler. Yeah,
the Traveler one.
Story,
so that wraparound story is the one that interconnects everything to all the other stories. Now, the one thing I liked about this one is that usually in these movies, in anthology films like VHS and all these other movies like Tales from the Hood, even the wraparound story usually is the least interesting one, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's you're more focused on the stories versus the wraparound.
The wraparound, like VHS 1, VHS 2, I was like, these wraparounds are not interesting at all. I don't like these characters. I'm like, just get on to the next story. It's just kind of a means to get to the next story.
Yeah.
But it felt like with this wraparound story, it felt like they really were trying to integrate it with the other stories.
Yeah.
And also, they were making it the most interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Did this remind for me? I want to ask you this. It reminded me of Demon Knight. Did they remind?
Yeah,
right.
You know, I agree. You know what it is? The movie. When I was watching it, I was just kind of enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
Because, like, we'll talk about it later, but it takes you in a way that you're like, oh wow, this is a serious fucking movie.
Right. It's a roller coaster.
But then there's some like there's hints that it's gonna be a fun ride. Like it's funny.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster because there's like highs where you're like really like it moves you around in different ways where you're like there's plateaus, there's ups, there's highs because there's moments like you said they're like really jacked up and they're like, oh man, I feel pretty bad about this, and then there's moments where you're laughing, you're like rolling in your seat laughing,
especially the Traveler.
Yeah,
the cops are like essentially annoyed of him.
Yeah,
but he's like, no, I have to tell you these stories.
But it's like Demon Knight because the same way like you get a mysterious traveler. Yes. William Sadler in Demon Knight arrives. He's handcuffed, and he's like, "You gotta let me out. You gotta let me go. Something's chasing me, and you don't want it to come here." And that was Billy Zane's character.
Yeah.
The same thing with this character. There's something chasing him.
Jada Pinkett Smith in there too.
Jada Pinkett Smith was in both. No, she was not. But she was like,
she was. The
was that Jada Pinkett Smith, the
yes,
cop?
She was.
It was the cop.
No.
The cop was Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't think so, but it was a black cop though.
It was a black cop, yes.
But essentially, what Jane Pinkett Smith wasn't a black cop in Demon Knight. Anyway, they were both black characters. She had more in common with CCH Pounder.
Threw you off with that.
CCH Pounder was in Demon Knight, so she had more in common with her. Take that as you wish. But it's the same way. Mysterious Traveler. I wouldn't be surprised if he did get influences from Demon Knight on there because it's like a mysterious traveler comes there. There's something after them that's omni-powerful, and he's just telling them, look, you got to listen to me. You got to let me go, blah, blah, blah. It's a very, very interesting story, but that's our catalyst for all the other stories that go around it. As they're interviewing him, the traveler, this mysterious traveler, vote for Pedro, we go into all the different stories and all the different things that he's touched across his life.
Yeah, because he has a bunch of relics.
Relics, yeah.
And then they're asking him, this, and I love how she just grabbed one, and she's like, this looks like it was in a museum. I'm like,
yeah.
You really?
Really?
I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But
so then we get to our first story.
Yeah.
It's about a dude who's an algorithm specialist, and he finds a way to
open a
portal to somewhere. I like this one a lot because it's like the most serious one, I think.
Yeah, because that's what it is. Because you're like, okay, Satanic Hispanics.
Yeah.
You see Vote for Pedro, and then he's doing his like Johnny Depp impression.
It seems that way.
You know, it's funny. But he's serious.
He's doing it good too.
And then remember in the beginning, we ain't gonna need more body bags.
We
were kind of like, oh boy, we're in for it.
There was a lot of silly moments in this movie where you're just like, you take back for a second, you're like, what are they doing here? But like you said earlier, it is similar to a Grindhouse movie where it's gonna run through different gamuts of emotions for you.
So yeah, for the first story, it was like it's serious.
It's serious,
you know,
it's serious.
And then the scare, like he opens a portal pretty much by doing a specific. So the way he does his Rubik's Cube is how he does it with the light.
Yeah,
he's a specific things.
He figures out there's an algorithm.
Yeah, to open a portal.
So, and it gets terrifying. There's twists. Obviously, we won't ruin it for you.
Yeah,
but
there's twists and it's scary.
And there's turns and it's scary. Yeah, it's serious. Like it's a serious one. And I was like, okay, this is kind of serious. Like, all right, where's this going?
Exactly. So when that story, I was like, wow, this is gonna be serious.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be kind of funny because that's how it was kind of leading towards. And I said no,
because it started like cheesy,
Yeah.
and then it was like then it got deadly serious.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what is it? Where
And
are
it
we
was
going with
nothing
this?
funny about the first story.
No, it was deadly serious.
So I was like, oh shit, it's
then
about to go down.
then what was the next story? That was the
I think it was the vampire.
vampire. See, that was my favorite one.
See, but that was perfectly timed.
Yeah.
I think if
My second favorite one, probably the wraparound was my favorite.
I think
one.
for any film majors out there or anybody that wants to pursue film, if you see how they segue and trick the audience, that like, wow, I'm in here watching a serious horror movie, and you just perfectly segue into this next story, and then the way they do it, because I'm like, okay, this is not the main character. Is it?
It
was.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious.
It was hilarious, and that
I
one
was
was
like,
done
what?
by the Blair Witch, my Blair Witch
your
boy.
boy,
yeah. Yeah, he did that one, and it was like it's so different than any movie I've ever seen him make. Like it's pure comedy. It's comedic. Like it reminds me of What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it reminds me, like.
But it's funny because
it's funny. Yeah, it's
see
genuinely funny.
You see the main character, and you're
He's like an idiot.
yeah, and then, but you thought he's doing like a cosplay impression, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no way, and I'm like, and no, he was legit.
It's literally a dumb vampire trying to get home.
Yeah,
and you're like,
because
what is wrong with you?
he listened against his wife.
Yeah.
Because he went in the inner city.
Yeah, he forgot it was
'cause he-
daylight savings. That was good. That was good. That was a good one.
Yeah, that one was funny, but it had some good gore. I do wish they showed it.
Yeah,
there was some gory moments where it was just.
But remember, these movies are like low budget though.
Yeah, that's true.
You can tell that they are stretching the money on these movies. But I mean, it was still very good for what they had. Then the next one, this was my least favorite one.
Yeah, I might as well.
Yeah,
because
it was a ritual one, right?
Yeah, so then they start questioning him about the relics, right? Meanwhile, our traveler's kind of like rushing the cops. Like, hey, we got to, under 90 minutes, I think he said, or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the next story is she gets a vial of blood.
Yeah.
And she's like, where did you get this? And I'm like, okay, if you don't want to hear his story, why are you asking, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, and he goes into it. And you know what it is? It just didn't go nowhere.
Yeah, it didn't go anywhere. That's the GG one? That's the GG one?
I believe it's the GG one.
That
I
one
forgot what they're called, but it was pretty much this guy killed a high-end person, and then the CIA is helping him.
I believe so. Yeah, it was kind of confusing. And it was like, it was like more of a ritualistic one. It had really amazing visuals and some really good body horror scenes, but it's like, for what?
You know what? It didn't take it there.
It didn't take
Remember
it all the way
we thought
there.
it was going to go
yeah,
there?
I thought it was
we looked at each other.
Yeah. There's
remember?
a scene. Yeah.
He's
There's a
his
scene,
ear,
and
and
when
I
you'll
was
see
just
it, when you see it, you're going to know what we're talking about. There's a scene that gets really uncomfortable in there, and then you're just like, are they going to take it in that direction? And they don't. But you'll see what I'm talking about. They don't push the envelope enough. But what they do is the makeup effects are really good. The soundtrack's really good.
100%.
It's a little bit confusing, but it's right up there. It's a serious one. So the first one's really serious. The second one's really funny and goofy and heartfelt in a way, if you can make that. And the third one is really serious again. And so it's like that roller coaster. You're going up and down on this thing.
I felt like they were trying to go where Green Inferno went.
Yeah,
the ritualistic, like
sure,
sure.
And
then,
yep.
You're like, oh crap, you don't know who this is. But just the story alone,
it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough meat on there.
I feel like that can't be a short story.
Yeah,
I needed
a
more
bit
context.
more. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So then the fourth one, we won't spoil anything about the fourth one.
But the fourth one's my favorite.
The fourth one is awesome. That movie, that one feels the most like a Grindhouse film. It feels more like a Robert Rodriguez movie.
Exactly,
right?
And they went with that direction. So they tried Quentin Tarantino-esque.
Yeah, they moved the time around.
And I will say for the composer, what a great job for all of them.
Yeah,
is that really the way they do the music for this movie is they're having fun with it. So it's kind of, especially for this one, you kind of get like kind of like a upbeat kind of like music.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to horror, it gets to horror. There's no mistake, and I love that. I think that's such a hard thing to do. And
fantastic.
Congrats to them.
Yeah. So this last story is basically about a group of travelers that accidentally bring about a Cuban demon. They're in Cuba. I don't know if it's a Cuban demon, but they're in Cuba on vacation, and then they go through a ritual that brings back a demon, and it has parts of, like, I don't want to spoil anything about it because it is so perfectly funny and packed with different
Yeah.
crazy stuff. Imagine it's like a little bit of Evil Dead. It's like a Spanish Evil Dead
Meets the Matrix.
Meets the Matrix. Meets like it's like all these
And
different things.
The end of the Matrix when it
Yeah.
gets good.
Yeah.
All right, when the
It's so
trench
good.
coat is out.
And there's a scene. There's an extended. Yeah, exactly. There's an extended joke in this that goes on, and it doesn't stop. And there's a point where you're like, okay, is this it? And it keeps going
Yeah.
further. And it's like the way they did it was just the best part about that last story is that it completely takes you by surprise. It's just like you're not going to know what's coming. You're not going to know exactly what's going to happen. But when it does happen, you're just going to have a fun time watching it, right?
Yeah, because especially with the extended one scene.
Yeah, it's an
it's
extended joke.
hilarious.
It's
'cause
hilarious.
We're like, oh, okay, what's he saying? And you're like, is he saying this? And then he's saying it. And then they just solidify. We're like, ew, that was inside of you.
It's insane. But anyway, then we get back to the last story. The last story is the wraparound, which I think that one might be my favorite one. I mean, the one thing about this movie is that all the stories and the wraparound are really good. They're all pretty good. The only one that was like kind of like a sour spot for me was the ritual one by Gigi. I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Well, because you know what? We didn't know where it was going.
Yeah, I just didn't know, and it didn't go anywhere for me.
Yeah.
I mean, if
I agree. Because remember, we looked at each other.
Yeah,
we're
we were
like,
looking at each other in the theater. We were like, okay, what is this?
And it ended, and we're like,
it just ended. Yeah, it was like, okay, what's next? And I think I craved more. That's probably the problem. But then we get to the wraparound situation, and we get introduced to one of the coolest designs in horror movies. Like, not in horror movie history, obviously, but one of the cooler designs I've seen in a long time. It's a death dealer. What was the name?
The Santa de la Muerte.
There we go. There it is.
Yeah,
yeah, that was
which in Mexico and other countries as well.
Yeah,
they don't. That's like fucking serious.
Oh yeah.
The Santa de la Muerte. When you see them, they're praying to that. They don't play games. They don't play that shit. Yeah. So it's kind of like one of those. I feel like even the song that came out when never mind. I don't want to.
When the song came out, was it?
Yeah, I just felt like the song was kind of like, I feel like people who pray to Santa de la Muerte, they're gonna see the scene, they're gonna be like, yeah, this is fucking badass.
yeah,
and it is badass.
It is badass. This thing is such an interesting looking character and power set.
Yeah,
and okay, so not to go into too many spoilers, but this thing does have a strong power set. But the difference, and you may have heard me complaining about the power set of the Nun in our last video, in the Nun 2, about her power set, that it's not whatever. So this movie sets up a certain amount of rules for this entity, and it abides by those rules. So you're like, okay, I don't care what this thing can do as long as you explain it, right? With the Nun, they set up a certain round of rules and they just break their own rules. That's the number one problem with these fantastical movies. You can't break your own rules, and this movie does not break its own rules.
Yeah.
It sticks to the rules that it's set, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we need. But the design was great. It was creepy, intimidating. I loved it. I loved that whole thing.
It was fucking badass.
It was.
As soon as the Santa de la Muerte came in, it was on.
Yeah. At first you're like, what is this thing? And then there's a second phase to it, and you're like, oh hell no.
Yeah, like the final boss phase.
Do you want like a figure of that thing?
That's scary, bro.
Yo, can we get that? No, can we get that figure?
But
like,
they sell
the toy. I want the toy.
Oh, the toy. Well, they
I put it right next to Chucky.
You know how like they have statues of Marys?
Yeah.
They have statues of Santa de la Muerte.
No, but I want that one from the movie.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
from the movie?
make it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this,
NECA, get on it right now.
Hey, if you're listening to this
NECCA,
review,
okay?
which I know you are, please, we want it. I'll buy it, cash or credit. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, just get it for us.
Just
please.
get it for us.
Come
But
on.
what a great way to kick off the horror season with Satanic Hispanics.
Do you feel that this is like the best horror movie in a while?
It's one of the better
from all the past horror movies that we've seen.
Yeah, because the thing is,
there was a lot of letdown. There was a lot of hype for some, and they just didn't meet the hype.
They let me down. A lot of the horror movies that I've seen let me down. Even Talk to Me, which I do like. Talk to Me, but the expectations were set so high for me that I was just like, okay, this is just a regular horror movie. It's fine. What this worked for this movie is that I wasn't expecting much at all.
Yeah.
And then I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. So I don't know if it's within myself the recent expectations of movies like Scream and all these that didn't live up to it, or the fact that this is actually a really good anthology movie. And you know, I'm a sucker for anthology movies.
Yeah, I agree. I remember we were talking about it at the movie. I was like, oh, an anthology movie because that's the thing. We were talking about it. I think we were talking about it for Creep Show.
Yeah.
You get different flavors. If you don't like one, that's fine. You're gonna like the next one.
This movie's like Napoleon ice cream. So like you can have like You can have all the flavors if you want. You just don't have to stick with chocolate. You can get
It's
strawberry if
funny.
you like.
Me and a coworker were talking about if we quit, we could totally be Napoleon ice cream.
Be them?
Yeah, as a stripper, we just do that on a stage.
3 strippers at once on stage?
Yeah, like brown, white, and pink, and just
3 guys?
mesh it. Oh, to one girl.
1 girl and 2 guys
Yeah.
stripping on stage? Who's
Yeah.
this for? Who's
Huh?
the strip club for?
If you're interested, comment below. Comment Napoleon.
That's a very niche market. But
Can you imagine? It's like a million comments.
Yeah. but this is definitely a good way to kick off Halloween. Like if you're
Yeah.
into horror films, if you're into films like VHS, there's VHS 85 that's coming out. Creep Show, Tales from the Hood, Tales from the Crib. You know what I'm talking about. Any
there's
Tales
another
of
anthology.
Halloween.
Oh, kind of like Trick or Treat as well.
Trick or Treat, Tales
So
from
you get
Halloween
different-
also.
yes.
Christmas, Halloween Story. All these different anthology films, even our boy All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
If you like stuff like that, this is right up your alley. I mean, it fits right in with some of the better ones that
now,
we've seen.
if you guys watch it and you're like, oh, it's just you could tell that the budget wasn't so high.
No,
for this
it wasn't.
because you could tell there were some scenes where like people are getting shot. It just looks,
Yeah.
it doesn't look up to par, like compared to like what you see in other like bigger horror movies.
And I think what it lacks in budget is the care that they put into it, because these directors have a really good eye.
Yeah.
Even Gigi, like her story, and not to beat up on it too much, but it has a really good flair.
Yeah.
Right? Like a really good cinematography, really good flair.
That's
I
what
feel
I was-
there's a good movie there somewhere, but it was just cut short.
100%. Like when I was watching this movie, it felt like I was watching Inglourious Basterds. The scene when she's running away.
Yeah.
You get a lot of cool shots like that.
You do.
You go to the house. There's a lot of good stuff there. It's just there's some areas I'm just like, what the fuck does this happen?
Yeah.
Like we're talking about the CIA agent. It's like,
Yeah,
we
there's,
don't
like, silly
give
stuff.
free passes to our country.
Silly,
What do
it
you
was
think? And I'm like,
felt
well,
like it was
what
trying
just
to be like a
happened?
message commentary thing.
And there
But
were
what-
some parts that I lagged in that one.
Yeah.
Too.
What I do like though is there's not a lot of messaging in this movie either. Like even though it's very heavily Hispanic film, obviously it's all Hispanic cast. Like majority of the cast is
Yeah.
Hispanic. All the directors, like it's not trying to message you in any way. There's no like real except for maybe 1 or 2 stories, but it's like they're just giving their flavor of the different lores and things like that.
Of different lores and like
different cultures.
Yeah, different, and then
Giving us
the
a
cool
taste.
stuff.
Giving us a sweet taste.
Spanish people love relics, man. There's always like, especially in like certain corner stores and stuff like
Yeah.
that, you're gonna see shit like that.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
I remember when I saw the relics on the table, I was like, all right, there's some that just exaggerate. But some I
Yeah.
was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen that at my mom's house once.
Yeah.
At least.
Definitely.
Or my grandma's.
So what would you give this? What kind of tea would you give this?
I don't remember any of our ranking systems for our platinum teas and whatnot.
Well, it's diamond, platinum, gold, silver. There's bronze.
you know what? Fuck it. Platinum tea.
Give
Platinum.
it a platinum tea.
I'm going platinum tea. Hispanic Heritage Week, baby.
Yeah, it gets a little bit extra points,
Wepa!
baby. I give this movie like it's a little bit uneven, and the expectations are a little bit different. But I would give it I'd give it a golden tea, right in the middle. It's right in the middle for me.
I want to watch it again because I think
I do too.
I feel like this is the movie that when you watch it over like more than once,
Yeah.
you're gonna enjoy it.
It's in the better half of anthology films. Like it's in the better half. If you were to take all the anthology horror films, split them down the middle, this would be in the median. This was probably like on the above average side, which I really liked.
Now-
But what's great about it is that it's different than all the other ones too.
Yeah.
Like because I wasn't exposed. Like I didn't know about all these different creatures of these different things like
Santa
that.
de la
And I was
Muerte
like,
I definitely knew because
Yeah, I
I've
did-
seen that and then it was one of those like, yo, you see somebody with that, don't fuck with them.
yeah, it is a good, but it's a good introduction for people that don't know this stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
And I like that.
But real quick, if you had a pick, watch this movie or Nun 2, what would you watch?
What do you think? I didn't like The Nun 2. I hated it, but I like this movie quite a bit. And if you like this video, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We post videos every Wednesday, every Sunday, sometimes Tuesday for some reason.
And sometimes Fridays.
Yeah, we don't know. But that's our schedule. But we talk all things terror, all things horror. We're here to review every horror movie. We talk news, reviews, and everything like that, baby.
Yeah, and
Follow us.
Just follow us.
Follow us on Twitter.
On our what's your Twitter?
I'm the horror movie snob on X. It's not Twitter anymore. It's X now.
And you can follow me on HFO Song
Do that.
on Instagram.
Do that. We're Terror Talk with a 3, no E, because we're cool like that. We love talking horror movies, baby, and we hope you do too.
And we love you.
Terror Talk out.